shortages. The rains run off the hills and straight into Bangladesh, and the local water storage systems leave a lot to be desired. Between monsoons, Roy has to pay 10 rupees for a jerry can of drinking water. It seemed nonsensical, but after just 12 hours of this rain, everything here seemed a bit mad, especially having a tin roof. Even the electrics of my diary camera were being affected by the rain.
Oh, it's the third time I've been woken up. It was snoozing once. Not anymore.
The next morning there was no let-up. Other than a few people attending the 10:30 church service, the town was eerily deserted. The rain hadn't stopped all night, and it was still going strong.
Relentless rain in extraordinary quantities. It's just a bit unnerving.
Rather than sit under Roy's tin roof all day going deaf, I decided to take a wander. Eventually, I found someone to chat to.
What's happening here?
It's raining.
Yeah, I can see it's raining.
You can see it's raining, no?
Yeah. What are you doing now?
Right now, at this moment, I'll tell you, when it rains, I've got something
You've got something.
up my sleeves. I love this.
What's that?
Oh, a Kazi liquor.
Cassie liquor. Ah.
Once you come out of the house, you're wet,
Yep,
fully wet.
fully wet.
So when you're fully wet, fully cold.
Yes.
When you're cold, so what do you have to do?
Have some Cassie liquor.
Yes.
Everyone was stuck indoors with nothing to do. So it wasn't surprising that when Roy announced he'd slaughtered a pig in my honour, plenty of people turned up.
So how many people did this pig feed?
Good.
60, 70.
60 or 70 people?
Yes.
Extraordinary. I saw it. It was only about this big. Magic. You're a magic man, Roy. It hasn't stopped raining all day, is it?
Nick,
Extraordinary.
you find this amazing.
Yeah,
You haven't
amazing.
seen hailstones the size of ping pong balls.
The rain is just inconvenient, but that's actually positively dangerous, isn't it? So is there anything actually good about the monsoon?
Rain stop.
When the rain stops? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
For one evening at least, the lethargy of the monsoon was dispelled. But later that night, it was business as usual.
Kazis are deaf people with very strong bladders, I suppose. This... Oh, really? I've been through virtually the entire gamut of emotions about rain and Monsoon. I mean, when I first arrived with relief, then I was like awe-inspired by the sheer volume. And I was sort of a bit worried. When's it going to stop? What is this? It's biblical. And it's like this, non-stop, for 3 days.
Much better, eh?
It might seem churlish, since I'd come here for the rain,
More rain!
but I was beginning to get a little bit bored with it. I needed some distraction, and I had the perfect project. Just 22 kilometres east of here lies Cherrapunji, ex-wettest town in the world. They lost the title to Monsoon 6 years ago, but apparently felt they'd been robbed. I'd spent the last 3 days getting soaked in Monsoon. the wettest town in the world. Now I was heading to Cherrapunji, its neighbour and rival in the rain stakes, to conduct a little investigation. On the way, we passed a lush green valley briefly lit by the sun. It was the first time I'd seen it since Kazi. But once we got to Cherrapunji, we were back in the clouds. Only here there was just a light drizzle. It was at Cherrapunji that the British East India Company established their principal outpost in northeast India in the 1850s. At first, the British liked it. The landscape reminded them of Scotland. But the rain soon got to them. It said that some went mad, and a few even committed suicide. But the old British graveyard was an eerie place, and I couldn't help but imagine what it must have been like to be stationed here for years on end in 1850.
Can you read the inscription then? It's not mine.
However, the spirits of these soldiers of the Raj couldn't tell me what I really wanted to know. When was this rain going to end? Dulcie, however, knew someone who might.
Nick.
He wants to know how you are.
I'm very well, thank you very much. How are you? I'd like to ask whether I'm going to see the sun within the next week.
Dali Kungjo is Cherrapunji's shaman. His egg is his crystal ball. He consults the Kazi gods on all things, and the weather is, not surprisingly, a favourite topic.
It's still going to rain, Nick.
Instant. It's still going to rain. Good, fine, thank you very much. Yeah.
Oh, because it is covered. It didn't.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's pretty clear cut then, isn't it?
We'd arranged to stay the night in Dali's house, and once I'd put my soaking clothes to dry and got into some merely damp ones, we settled down to an evening of betel nut chewing.
Oh, really? Sort of numbed my mouth. Dear me, I better have another one.
The young man said it was a natural stimulant for internal warmth. For me, it was just a blessed relief to be away from Roy's tin roof.
This place is a complete contrast to Roy's pad in Monsoon. The roof is really interesting. It's thatch, but made of grass. And it's perfectly soundproofed. You cannot hear the rain at all. I have to go out to the door every now and again just to make sure it is still raining.
It was, but thanks to the thatch, I got my first decent night's sleep in a week. The Met station here was set up by the British in 1852, and it's been breaking rainfall records ever since. In 1861, they recorded 26 metres, the most ever in a year. And on the 16th of June 1995, they got 1.5 metres in a day, more than Oxford gets in 2 years. Mr. M.P. Leutel and his assistant take manual readings every 3 hours, with an automatic system providing continuous data. Mr. Leutel is an outsider from Assam on a 1-year posting.
What's it like on an everyday basis to actually live here when it's raining this hard?
For me, it is very difficult here to spend my days, actually. You cannot go out because it is all over raining and the wind is there. So you have to be in this house. And then this type of wet weather, once, as I am feeling, they frequently feels going for bathroom.
Going to the bathroom all the time. Yeah, I felt that too, yes.
So it is very difficult to live.
Yes. Interesting to experience Cherrapunji.
Yes.
For a short time only.
Yes. It is interesting to experience to be here.
Yeah.
As a Met man,
Yes, as
to
a
measure
measure.
the record rainfall.
Of course. But are you looking forward to leaving it?
Yes. I am very much eager to leave this place actually.
Were they?
I could sympathise with Mr. Leutel. After just 3 months here, he'd had enough.
Yes.
But what about that rivalry with
It
Monsoon?
is their property.
The
actually.
annual
They feel
average world record is no longer with Cherrapunji, I understand. It's now with Monsoon.
it is still in disputed.
Disputed.
Yeah, it is maintained by some part-time observer.
Uh-huh.
So the authenticity of his maintenance is a bit disputed.
So not quite as reliable as the records here in Cherrapunji.
Just he observes.
Yes.
If the instrument is out of order, it will take a long time to repair it. So it is the man who works there. So that is the problem.
Mr. Leutel seemed to be saying it was impossible to tell which town was wetter, while an amateur was measuring rainfall in Monsoon. It looked like I'd have to go back to meet this part-timer for myself. But first, I had to play a game of darts. Needless to say, the Kazi version of the game was different. It has a strange psychological twist that took the whole contest to another level. The teams are divided into thinkers and throwers. My team's thinker wore a jaunty blue cap. The thinkers argue about the rules of each match. And here's the weird bit. Whichever team wins the argument becomes predestined to win the throwing of the darts. The thinker on my team and the thinker on their team made the agreement, right? Yes. And how did that go? Because I didn't really follow it. Who's sort of ahead psychologically so far?
That man with white hair.
The opposition thinker.
The opposition thinker. He made your man obey. Will play with 50 rupees above. He said yes.
Right.
2 men on both sides. He said yes.
So in other words, there's no point in me throwing because I'm going to lose.
You do.
We'll see though, we'll see.
I wish you all
Maybe
the
I
best.
won't lose.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you. It's not a huge one. If I was destined to lose, it seemed I was onto a sure bet. And I'd like to back them to win. Is that possible?
It's not impossible.
It's not possible.
You can only bet on yourself to win. Okay. It was all extremely confusing. But I did think it was a bit rich when my thinker, who had apparently just lost me the game, blessed my darts and wished me all the best.
Okay, so he has blessed and he's wished you the best that you will hit the target.
Good. I'll do my best. Good luck. By the time we started to throw, the fog was so thick I could scarcely see the target. My team immediately went one down, and apparently our only chance of victory was for our thinker to find fault with the opposition.
In one game I saw, the man who was throwing that, his loincloth dropped off.
Oh.
And that man from the opposition, he said, this is not what we have agreed upon. We haven't agreed that you should remove your loincloth. I got the hunch that this man is going to lose. And he did. He lost.
The knowledge that we'd already lost kept nagging at the back of my mind and really put me off my game. That was pretty bad,
You
wasn't
can do better than that.
Dulcie, I need some more positive vibes from you. I'm just
I'm
getting
telling you, you're
negative
nearly there.
energy
You're
from
nearly
you.
there. A little bit more practice.
The opposition hit twice, and the game was beyond us. Then, a miracle. I didn't care that we'd lost. I'd arrived in the Kazi zone. I could even accept that it was our thinker's submission rather than my ineptitude that had caused our defeat in the throwing of the darts. I'm off to Monsoon tomorrow, and I didn't really think I'd be going back there, but having spoken to the chief meteorologist here